This is Let's Talk Big, The Big Read, with Jane Berger and Jen Hazel. The Owens Community College Campus Read is taking place now and throughout the semester, with the goal of bringing awareness of different perspectives through books. The Campus Read book is What My Bones Know by acclaimed journalist Stephanie Foo. It's the story of her reckoning and healing by investigating the little understood science behind complex PTSD and how it's shaped her life. Here, sharing their insight about the book, What My Bones Know, is Owens Community College Director of Library Services, Jane Berger, and Professor of English, Jen Hazel.
I'm Jen Hazel, and I have with me Jane Berger. And guess who we have with us?
Ooh, Stephanie Foo!
Woohoo! All right. So we are so excited. We are just going to dive right in. So, Stephanie, describe your approach to writing.
My approach is kind of scientific, honestly. I sit down around 11 a.m. usually, and I take out a lot of research and journals and all kinds of things that I've sort of saved up. I kind of treat writing like I would treat putting together a story, even when it's my own life, putting together a radio story about somebody else's life, I guess. Taking all of my materials and adding them all together like a journalist.
Do you work, or do you get things organized, get up, kind of take a break, look out the window? I'm guessing you work from home, or are you just push through and let me put in a solid X number of hours and then I'm done?
I'm definitely a looking out the window type of person. I get distracted very easily.
Love that.
I do my best. I take lots of breaks. I eat a lot of snacks. You know, I'm not that strict with everything.
What is it most about podcasting that you enjoy?
Podcasting. Mostly it's been podcast / radio throughout my career. I really love letting my tape tell the story. I love getting really, really amazing tape and the incredible people that I get to meet on the way of getting that amazing tape. It's really getting emotional tape and letting somebody's emotions really shine through in that tape so that the listeners can start laughing and crying along.
We did just that in reading What My Bones Know. We have had your book being read all over our town. Several public libraries held book discussions with groups, and our campus community read it this entire academic year. And boy, I'll tell you, you are just a picture of strength and determination. I think you're just such an incredible person to have been able to share that, and how many people have been able to benefit from reading your experience. And nobody talks about this really. And so how many others like, oh my gosh, I know that happened to me, or I know a little bit about this myself, or, whatever it might be, and just kind of related. And we have found that through some of the events and programs that we have run on campus in conjunction with our Big Read, is that, boy, you just have no idea what some people live with. Sharing this story, your life with all of us, has been just fabulous. It's been very hard, and I had to refer back, and I thank you so much at the beginning of your book where you put the little spoiler that it has a happy ending, because I had to remind myself of that a few times. Like, okay, of course, like, look at her, look where she is. This is okay. She's
we had to
okay.
remind a lot of people about that some of the time.
What was the most difficult thing about writing this book that you encountered? You were reliving just these painful parts of growing up, and it's hard anyway, but boy, you really had challenges isn't even the right word, but what did you find was most difficult, even if it was just the idea to decide to do it?
Well, thank you, first of all. Yeah, it's a crazy honor. So many people in the community have read it and that it was assigned in this way. This has not happened to me before, and so it's truly, really something special. I think of the research and the writing of the book as two separate things, but the research was the hardest part because that was the healing. Essentially,
Right.
that was the healing journey. And healing was never fun nor easy. And so that whole process obviously was pretty agonizing. And there were times when I was like, I don't know if it's possible. Can I heal? Is this going to be anything? I wanted to write the book in the very beginning. I was like, if I can heal, I'm going to write this book. But there were times when I was like, maybe I'm not going to have anything to write because it's not going to work.
Wow.
It also wound up being obviously like one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done and that's ever happened to me. Luckily, ultimately, it worked. I was able to heal. Going back to my childhood home, really diving into some of my trauma through EMDR. It was all really scary at first and really hard before it became peaceful.
I can only imagine. I mean, just to have the courage to face that head on and to be your own advocate and push through to get what information you deserve to know is such a huge message for all of us to hear and to know. You can't just be patted on the head and say, oh, this will pass, give it a few weeks, or just your tenacity and just know, what is this? Why am I feeling this way? Why are these things happening? Just such a testament again to your determination.
Stephanie, along those same lines, what did you find most challenging about reading, because you read your audiobook, reading your audiobook?
My audiobook wasn't hard to read at all. Being a radio producer for so long, I'm used to just reading scripts, and honestly, I'm very, very grateful to one of the side effects of my trauma, which is intense dissociation. What was really interesting is I would go through and read some of the most traumatic content from that book, and it just breezed by, no problem. I was able to act it all out. My director was very proud of me, and I was very happy to be making her proud of me. But the only part of it that really wrecked me and that I did cry was the part reading about my mother-in-law, who I love very dearly, and I write about in the book about how much I loved her. But she had passed between the time that I had finished writing the book and audiobook was being recorded. Remembering her and how much I loved her. Reading about that was difficult.
Oh, I can imagine.
I am absolutely sure that would be really challenging because it sounds like she was great support for you. That's whenever it's someone with support, that is very difficult. Stephanie, do you plan to write another book?
I would like to if they let me.
Well, if you've Googled yourself recently, you might say that other people would want to hear more of what you want to say.
Yep, I vote yes. I vote yes. You have such a style of writing that is so easy to read with all of the medical information and the medical letters and all of that. It wasn't bogged down. It was a nice, easy, flowing style that on all topics would just continue to be a joy to read. If you can make this topic readable, you can write about anything, I think. In my expert opinion.
Stephanie, do you have an idea about that you might want to share with us? What a new book might look like?
Well, maybe. Certainly doing a lot of therapy and research right now on what it's like how to be a mother with complex PTSD. Super pregnant, trying to figure that out, and hopefully if I learn some interesting things about that, maybe I can share them.
Very beneficial, I can imagine.
Absolutely, I am sure it would be, and I am sure it would fly off the shelves in the same way that this book has. Speaking along the lines of motherhood, what are your thoughts on that?
Congratulations, by the
Yes,
way.
absolutely.
We hope you're feeling better than you were at the beginning of the process.
Oh, God, that was horrible. My thoughts are very multitudinous. It's a pretty complex thing, and it's pretty scary. It's exciting and scary. I'm sure every mom can really relate to that.
Yep, absolutely. I remember my husband took a week off after we had our first baby, and he went back to work, and with a panic look on my face on that Monday morning, I said, "You're going to leave me alone with her? Are you kidding?" I just felt so ill-equipped, and somehow she's 34, so she's managed despite me.
Well, Jane, you're probably not making her feel any better about that. Although I can say
I'm sorry.
The same.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't go. Are you sure you have to go back?
Yeah, it's that another human is just relying on you, and oh my gosh, it's just such an incredible. I'm a grandma now, so it's awesome to just look at those babies and want to just love them all up.
This was part 1. Please join us next week for part 2, where we're going to finish hearing some wonderful, interesting things from Stephanie Foo. Make sure that you run, not walk, to get here to campus on April 27th at 10 a.m. in the CFPA Theater on the Toledo campus to see Stephanie Foo. She's going to talk. She's going to sign books at 10 a.m. at the CFPA Theater on our Toledo campus. You can also watch the live stream link at 10 a.m. The link you can find on our website at owens.edu/humanities/read, owens.edu/humanities/read. And if you miss those, go to the Findlay campus and check her out there on April 27th at 3:30 p.m. in room 111, and she will be talking and signing books there as well. So please run to listen to Stephanie talk. This has been a year in the making, and we are thrilled. So Stephanie, thank you so much for taking your time to talk with us today. When this goes out and it's played on the radio, I just know people are going to be thrilled and be so excited to be able to hear you, and then we know they're going to run over to see you when we're here in the CFPA. So on behalf of myself, Jen Hazel, I have Jane Berger, and I have Stephanie Foo! Woo-woo!
Thank you so much. So excited to meet everyone.
Keep talking big, everyone.
Join us again for Let's Talk Big, the Big Read with Jane Berger and Jen Hazel.